RH Jam, we'll take a look at what are the things we could do to help bring change to humanity and the planet through a compilation of short clips from Jam guests, all members of a Reconnective Healing teaching team. We'll also share with you an exclusive update on our upcoming premiere with Dr. Eric and Jillian this Saturday, June 20th. And this is coming up right here on the RH Jam. And welcome back. If this is your first time here at the RH Jam, I'm Ana Clavell, your presenter, and this program is a live program that we present every week on Thursdays, where we talk about anything and everything that has to do with reconnective healing, but we also talk about topics that are important to you. And the reason we know they're important to you is because you send us the comments, you send us the questions, you text us, and that means the world to us, because through your questioning, we create all these discovery together. We collaborate in expanding not only our understanding of reconnective healing, but also the validation that sometimes some of us need at many points in our lives of our experience of these frequencies. And what a great place to do it, that in this forum in which we can all share and we can express what has been a finding that may be of resonance with so many people out there in the world. For those of you who are new to the Jam and Reconnective Healing, I'd just like to let you know that this was discovered in 1993 by Dr. Eric Pearl. And Reconnective Healing is an energy-based approach to healing, transformation, and communication. And it's truly poised to bring about the shift that humanity so clearly is in process of undertaking, consciously and perhaps no so consciously. And reconnective healing, as I like to remind everybody, does not require to learn steps. There's no rituals to follow. It has been scientifically validated and universally experienced by those who have received sessions, who have interacted with these frequencies, and most of us can tell you that this has been a point of personal transformation. We'll talk more about this, but the key thing is that to be able to continue on these conversations and to be able to invite more people and inspire more people to find out more about reconnective healing, it truly depends on you. That's what I need to invite you right now to subscribe to our channel, like this video, like all our other videos, and share them. When you guys do that, you know what happens? People immediately feel very compelled to watch what we are presenting through our YouTube channel. So I invite you to continue this really good work of sharing, liking, and subscribing. And you know what? Right now, where everybody's attention is truly with the digital world, what a beautiful moment for somebody to randomly receive a link to any of our videos. You know, one of our field of frequencies videos, or one of the beautiful moments of Dr. Eric and Jillian sharing their interviews. What a beautiful gift you can make to anyone today. Just randomly go to the channel, select a video, a link, boom, send it out. Let the frequencies do their job. I want to welcome everyone here on the chat. Hello. You guys fill me with such joy. Oh, I see we are having an issue connecting again with the chat. That started happening earlier in the week. Guys, sometimes YouTube do upgrades that do not pan out the way that they expected to. They may still be working on this issue, but in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read them, your comments, because I have them right here on my other monitor. So I want to welcome first and foremost Simona. Simona, you're awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, like even before we were supposed to start. That's awesome. And of course, my gratitude to Lexi Alexandra and Cecilia Sams. These two amazing ladies help us here every week in the Jam. Thank you, and I welcome you both. I see Enrico. Hello, Enrico. Great to see you here. I see Mary Reagan. So happy to connect with you. So happy that you're joining this family. I see as well Quality of life with Roz. Hello. You can never lose this. Don't worry. I mean, even if you don't catch us live, which is we know it's more fun to be live, right, in the program, but you still get to see it because we bank everything we record for sure. Kadria, hello. I see Jennifer. Hello. Sonia, welcome, welcome. Sally, Laurent, welcome. Hello, Alina. Hi, beauty. Hello, and Maria Luisa. So beautiful to see you guys. And I'm sure that as we progress in the program, plenty more people are going to be joining us. So let's talk about change. And really, as I play each of these clips, I really would love to, and that's like 15 times I've used really today. I don't know if you guys are counting, but I do keep like an inner count on how many times I use a word. So please count with me. I'm at 15 with really. That's the 16th now. So as I play these clips for you, it's going to be such a beautiful collaboration because I would love for you to express your commentary on what this particular teacher has brought forth in this short clip regarding our major topic today, which is how can we bring about change? How can we bring about change? Well, we know that in reconnective healing in itself, it is change. It is something that it becomes immediately apparent the moment that you start interacting with these frequencies, as the healings are often instantaneous and they transcend space time. And it's sometimes the change that happens is palpable and immediate, and sometimes it takes a little bit of time for us to become aware of it. But nevertheless, it's always change and there's always transformation. What we know in reconnective healing is that the only thing that can hinder us experiencing that change is when we kind of get totally encased in that we want to see something specific. We know this because we as human beings, we are pretty much, in the mind set that the mind is what is the game changer, that everything can be created and mobilized and manifested through the mind, and we are trying to use it in that way. We'll hear more about it as we've heard about it here in the jam since we started through several of our little clips. But first, I want to introduce the topic today by going deeper into the whole sense of change. When we talk about how can we bring about change or helping about change, it is crucial that the first stop needs to be to look within. And to talk a little bit about this, let me play this beautiful clip from an interview with Guglielmo Poli, our co-director of the international teaching team, Reconnective Healing teaching team. I hope you like this.
Absolutely. You rediscover yourself, or you discover yourself, because we are creating every second our reality, our universe. And we are the only one responsible for what is happening in the world and what's happening in our life. And we're born in this perfect world because it's perfect, even with dramatic things, even with viruses, even with wars, because we are creating it. So we have to change. No, we have to rediscover ourselves. We have to rediscover who we are. And when you will rediscover it, also the world around you is changing totally.
So absolutely yes, right? Where we place our attention, clearly energy goes, and that's the reality that gets created, right? That's it's such an important key point when we're talking about how can we be changed. Well, the first step really is to discover yourself, rediscovering yourself. And that's something these frequencies can definitely allows us to do. Go into this journey of self-discovery that sometimes happens without you even having to ask the question. It's just that the change and the answer presents itself. So first of all, is the accountability that we are the ones creating this reality. And by that, we may want to consider that finger pointing at what got us here, might not be necessary as much as discovering what is our role in all of this. I see here that Jennifer says it's safe to look within. Synchronicity. My boys and I were just using that affirmation yesterday. Oh, because coincidences? Maybe do not exist, really. I don't know. I'm going to go out on a limb here. We have Lexi who says, we are creating our reality. Our universe, we are responsible. We have to rediscover who we are, and the world will change. Going within. Going within is the first stop in this rediscovering of ourselves and what is the change that we can help with, if that is what our heart is crying out for us to do, our instinct. Alina says the change is coming easily in the frequencies. The change is to realize that we are now light. That is beautiful. And hold on to that thought, Alina, because we'll definitely be cycling back to this. Because, here's the deal. We need to realize that in this whole mindset that we are, that the mind rules supreme. And again, guys, this is not to diss the mind. The mind is, what a gift, seriously, what a gift. But perhaps this is a moment in which we need to transcend the part of that mind that perhaps gets in our way. We might call it ego, perhaps. We may have other words for it. And as one of our wonderful guests and collaborators in our Tuesday Jam was saying, it's time to live. So if it's time to live, then let's talk a little bit precisely about the place of our mind. What happens when we get so focused on manifestation and intention? And I have for this little conversation a beautiful clip with Jillian Fleer, of course. Here we go.
Let's talk about intention here for a moment, because intention for me sometimes makes me in tension. and I use that lovingly because, we talk about being supernatural and we talk about being really superhuman. And so intention as sort of this space immediately thrusts us into an aim or a purpose or a goal or a target. I love the graphic that you used of the bow, because obviously we're aiming at something when we have an intention. And, I can speak just very personally. I have a really busy life, and I'm so committed to our purpose and our mission to bring reconnective healing onto the planet. But I also have a turning 30-year-old son, and I have friends, and I have 5 total, but 4 brothers and sisters. And I have this life. And so when I start to kind of focus on intentions for whatever they may be, things in my personal life, things that have to do with the reconnection or the team or the just all things we are involved in, sometimes I find myself creating that special little box. And there are all these intentions going into that special little place so that I can focus, right? And bring the mind to cooperate. And I find often that I've left the space of where I really become the fullest aspect of my ability to bring anything into existence in the field, because my thoughts are somewhere else. So if your intentions are highly dependent upon your thoughts, it is a very disciplined activity. You definitely are set up wonderfully to set goals. Because, yes, we are becoming quite proficient in going from mind to matter. This is absolutely part of the quantum mechanics that neuroscience is so beautifully defining for us. And so it's a tool. And let's be clear, we want tools. We want to use tools in our life, but we need to be realistic and know that manifestation or intention in this way has a formula to it. It is a technique and a formula that we have to follow with a lot of thought. So what I want to just notice in my own daily life is that one day I may be feeling very on track and with tremendous amount of focus, but my perception about something might change. And obviously perceptions are constantly changing. So if I'm fully committed to that intention and I'm focused on the formula itself without the breath, without the, I'm going to say, awareness, just pure awareness of the being of that much more expanded part of myself. When we are in thoughts and emotions, we are not thinking. We have to kind of squeeze ourselves into a smaller capsule in order to be in a thought and emotion. And they're important because sometimes we need to step away from thinking. But that isn't a place where we're in growth. Emotions and feelings are not a growth space. They are a space for us to explore, and they are a place for us to feel. And feeling is really, really key. But at the same time, we can lose sight of the changes that are happening, because change is always happening. And we may not be perceiving even that has already come into form, already established itself, because we're sort of locked in a want, an aim, a goal.
Intention causes intention. Very well spotted over here, Jennifer. Yes, and isn't that curious? And isn't something, this is food for thought. When we get so focused and this is the outcome we want, all the possibilities for change pass us by because we're not paying attention to anything else. So when we get focused on something, whether it is what we need or not, the real change, the real shift that we need in our lives may be right there, but our attention, and therefore, as Jillian says, our energy has followed that and not the possibility of that change to take place. So again, it starts with within. It starts with, where is our focus? Where is it that we're putting our attention? And how can we then step through, move past our love affair with intention and controlling things? John Angrignon, which is our next video, puts it very simply. It's about letting go of expectations. And Alina also says here, intention is trying to limit the infinite to something what my mind is telling me that I or other people need from the point of view of mine. And really, I don't need anything. I already am everything. Jillian, hello! Welcome, Jillian. And then Jillian says, right on. Absolutely, yes. Where are we putting our attention? John Angrignon says, let's just clear the slate. Let's start by letting go of expectations. Let's see what he has to say in this short clip.
We're talking about your mind running, and that's usually a sign to me that there's a feeling you've ignored or blocked or something like that. And so in that moment, just acknowledge your own feelings, and usually your mind will just stop like that. And then you'll be open to whatever is coming again. That'll take you into that state of openness, of no expectation. And so that's a huge clue that you just blocked a little feeling as a practitioner, and I get that.
Ooh, that was like a little hypocrite there, guys. Let me play it again. See if that stops, okay? I'm sorry about that. Let's do it again.
We're talking about your mind running, and that's usually a sign to me that there's a feeling you've ignored or blocked or something like that. And so in that moment, just acknowledge your own feelings, and usually your mind will just stop like that. And then you'll be open to whatever is coming again. That'll take you into that state of openness, of no expectation. And so that's a huge clue that you just blocked a little feeling as a practitioner, and I get that sometimes. The feeling will come up and I won't acknowledge it, and then my mind starts to race a bit. And the beautiful thing about reconnective healing is you just sort of acknowledge that you've been a bit spaced out there a minute, and just gently bring yourself back to the healing process. And then by doing that, you're sort of creating a field of love around yourself, and a field of love with the universe. And then that opens up again, and you can let go of your expectations.
So what are we hanging on to? What are these things that perhaps we can, I don't know, in a conscious way say, well, okay, in reconnective healing, we have let go of this, we have let go of that. What may be still creeping in the recesses of our mind that may be influencing how we are receiving on a very pedestrian way, even the news. How are we receiving the information that's coming to us through the media? How are we interacting with the emotional turmoil? What are those expectations? Are they still there? They certainly interrupt that inner conversation that has to be about discovering yourself, as we've heard, about really observing where attention is, as Jillian has said. Letting go of expectations. Expectations is a biggie, because sometimes they are there even if we are not aware of them consciously. And we have Maria who says, point out that change starts right now. Define what we want to have in future and what not. Reconnective healing is one of the instruments we have to transform conventional medicine, particularly healing in future. Perhaps that future is now. Maybe that future has come and is right here, right now. We'll see, because by the time we get to the end of today's program, let's see. I'd like to know, what is your take on this conversation today about being that change? So welcome, Rob, and what a timing, because guess what? It is Rob's video that's coming up next, and he's gonna be telling us about when we get stuck in these expectations, in challenges, and we get caught up in this hamster wheel. Perhaps we're missing out on an opportunity. Let's see what Rob has to say about that.
If you are feeling stuck, there's a really good chance that you are at a point in your evolution that you are feeling the constriction of this inner expansion that is about to unfold. And that feeling of stuck is just an indicator that you are ready to grow and expand in that moment. And so I would invite you to consider that this is a great indicator that you are about to experience growth in your life. And I can tell you, just personally for me, my introduction to Reconnective Healing, by the way, happened at one of those junctures where I felt absolutely that I was stuck and I was kind of on the hamster wheel, kind of going through the motions. And I want to say also that one of the reasons why we feel stuck very often, or what's associated with that experience, is usually that we have been kind of walking a very well-trodden path of routine and familiarity. And there is that feeling of, I've done this before and I'm not moving in a different direction. So it's really about recognizing in those moments that this is an opportunity. This is a feedback system that you have. Your soul, your spirit is letting you know that it is time to step out beyond that which you have experienced before.
We recorded this a full 8 months ago. And how current and timely this conversation is, how timely the wisdom that Rob shares in this clip is, because when we're feeling stuck, it's that inner voice telling us, this is a moment for change. This is the opportunity for change. And isn't that what humanity is experiencing right now at large? I mean, it was not the sudden realization or, self-consciousness, self-awareness. It was pretty much turning a switch on and off, right? We went from on to off. And we seem to be fluctuating between the two, because many more changes will be brought forth based on this original shift that's happening, right? We have here that Lorenza says, I do not have expectations, open to all possibilities, without judgment and point of view, where the miracles can happen in the field of creations. That is beautiful, Lorenza. And Jillian says, surrender all manifesting. Focus expanding your capacity to be the receiver in expectancy, that childlike wonder. No matter how much we think we know what to manifest and exactly all we want, there is much more. Yes, beautifully said. Absolutely. And as we are in this interaction, we are living in this interaction with the frequencies. For those of you who are just joining us and starting to interact with these frequencies, there is a moment in which we touch something. Virginia Adams has called it touching the cloak. Perhaps what we're talking about is what we in our human languages have called grace. And something beautiful happens when we touch that grace. And to tell us about it, I want to welcome this beautiful clip with John Fowler telling us a little bit precisely about what this means.
As we facilitate a session for someone else, we are also receiving healing. And this immense connectedness that we have with the universe, that the frequencies allow us to receive exactly what we need. And so every time we step into that equation, we are receiving. And sometimes we recognize what's transforming for us, even in a session with another person. And sometimes we don't realize it till later. And so it just, we're always receiving when we step into those moments of grace, because grace is allowing. And sometimes we feel like we're not in grace, because we're busy. And grace, to me, if I could communicate it in musical terms, it's like the silence between the notes. It's beautiful and expansive and allows everything to be perfectly ordered.
Here's that receivership. There's that moment between the notes, the musical notes, in which perhaps it's an aha. It's an aha moment. Perhaps it's the sudden understanding, but not in your mind. The sudden knowingness that there is that more that Jillian speaks of, and we touch it. It's like that blinding light that suddenly comes through parting clouds, and there it is, and you recognize it, the entire beauty of creation, of the universe, of everything that is. That more is there. And in these frequencies, in this interaction, it happens when we allow ourselves to be in that receivership. And we have Melanie. Melanie, hello. She thanks William. She says, I needed to hear that exactly. Guys, keep the comments coming, because this is how we're collaborating. These comments, as people go through them in the replay, they will be growing exponentially through your observations, through your exhortations, through your shares. You guys are so important to the expansion of these frequencies. Lorenza, she adds, Reconnective Healing is pure love, and love is contrary of fear. Correct. Yes, it is. And Jillian says, we are the instrument for this intelligence, and the more we learn to play ourselves, the more there is. That is correct. We are that instrument. Are we ready to let that music come through and play, right? Let it come out and play. So when we talk about receivership and receiving its core to our interaction with this intelligence that guides the frequencies of reconnective healing, we have Kelly here to reaffirm just that. In our next clip, let's hear Kelly talk about receivership as well.
When we talk about receivership, as far as reconnective healing, when we are actually doing the session, we are receiving, not sending. So I think that concept is something that we can really carry out throughout the entire process of our lives of being in this state of receivership, and the giving that happens in return. Just again, like in reconnective healing, it becomes this sort of two-way street, right? So if we're talking about receivership in relationship to, the acceptance of self-value and what we receive while we're doing the session, that's one conversation that's very relatable to receivership as far as, material things that we might be in receivership for, actually doing the session or our fair exchange. So it's a very interesting topic to me, because I find that the truth of the matter is the only conflict that really happens between receiving and giving is our construct, the constructs that we have made in our minds.
Receiving is core. Yay! And I love Jillian with like core, big letters. Perhaps in this soul searching, let's call it something that we're doing here about change and inner change and changing the world. When we're in this family of reconnective healing, when we are in this interaction, some of us can kind of get into the mindset that we need to be in a special situation to be in interaction with these frequencies. We perhaps look at the session or kind of say, okay, and now I'm going to do a distance session, or now I'm going to do something here to interact with the frequencies. We kind of like tell ourselves a story on how is it that we're going to be using them, when clearly receivership in all aspects of our lives needs to transcend these little mindsets that perhaps get created, along the way. That's normal, You read a recipe, you memorize it, but I promise you, by the 6th, 7th time that you do it with the notes in front of you, you start experimenting. You add a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that, and at some point, it may end up not tasting exactly the same way or coming out the same way that you expected it to. And it is because you have started to add and take away things that were part of something that was already perfect and didn't need any changes, So, as we progress, knowing that these frequencies are everywhere and they are applicable to everything, what happens is that perhaps we just compartmentalize them into moments, specific moments, when they need to permeate everything that we do. We see Terry Larkin. Hello, Terry gave us an amazing share last week, and she'll be back with us next week, just to let you know. We're talking intelligent beings from other dimensions next week, so I'm just letting you know now. So please put it on your calendar. We're coming back to talk more with Terry next week. Welcome here to the chat, Terry. So we have here Jillian that says, doing is horizontal, being is vertical and omnidirectional. That is correct. That is where we're leading. Not that I like to lead people, but, reconnective healing in our discovery, as we discover it, our relationship with these frequencies, it often feels like it takes us from a stage to a stage. Although that is simply our perception of what's going on. It tends to be instantaneous. It's just the moment that we fully can grasp it, that it becomes fully visible to us. But it's always been there. So when we are actually talking about how then the frequencies can be incorporated to increment our understanding, our knowingness of the changes that are happening in us, and how these changes ultimately affect everyone around us, I'd like to welcome now Nadia Van Ram, who let us know how you shifting your awareness to the frequencies just makes the entire difference. So here she is, Nadia.
And thank goodness with living in the frequencies, it can be a 2-minute interaction with the frequencies, which helps us be aware that they are actually already there. So it's just a shift in our awareness. The frequencies are there. We are the ones that are, either focusing and experiencing them or not. And when we practice this awareness, we become aware that, they are there, always accessible, and it can be as brief as, you're taking a deep breath, before waking up, and then you have the experience and feel inspired what to do that day. Or, I might just use it when I'm waiting in line for paying for my groceries. Just a brief moment of awareness, and it becomes like a muscle if you train it enough. And it doesn't mean for weeks and so on, but the more we do it, the easier it gets, and it is like it just switches on automatically. So instead of us needing to focus, it just sort of finds us. Like, hey, I had an experience with the frequencies.
That is, that's it. It's so simple, and sometimes we just want to complicate things for ourselves. I mean, that is really, for me, when it comes to humanity, is one of those things. It's like, for me, it's the big why. It's like, why do we complicate things? What do we get from complicating things, if not more complications? I mean, are we so desirous to just break away from calm because we get, I don't know, bored? Is that what it is? Are we wired to just go out of our way to create a little bit of chaos? Perhaps that's part of what it means being human beings. Well, I'm sure we've all had our own inkling on how these things truly work for each of us, and in general, as we interact with the frequencies, there's everything that is there to be known is right there. And it is within us. It's just our awareness, right? So being with these frequencies and interacting with them and letting them come into your life is as simple as opening a window. It's as simple as just taking in the space around you and how that influences then the world around you without you having to direct or do anything. Jillian says life, living in the frequencies every day. Every day. And it doesn't mean that you need to put on like a helmet or a hat on. What it does take, though, as Nadia mentions here, is that it does take for us to be consciously aware of doing it for a little bit until it becomes your only nature, to just be in frequencies. And Carlos Velez, whose video I'm going to be playing next, he has an extra little layer to add about that, precisely that. How is it that we share? And what is it that really gets shared when we are allowing ourselves to be in the awareness of the frequencies without being in the special space of facilitating a session or doing a distance healing? What happens? Here's his exhortation coming up right now.
Guys, be in contact with yourself. Be in contact with the ones that you love. Show your gratitude. Realize that only the present is the gift. This is what we have. It's now. Don't wait until tomorrow to tell those that you love them. It's very important. And help those around you to wake up as well. Share Reconnective Healing with them. Let them know what this is about. Let them feel the frequencies. And believe me, little by little, like Eric says, one candle will light another candle and another candle and another candle. And soon, through our work, through what we do, and the love that we share with everyone, we will make tomorrow a better place.
Vibrating in these frequencies, being in these frequencies, it is sharing that love. Besides, clearly, this is a beautiful exhortation now that we're living at this moment of difficulty, to remind people verbally as well that you care about them. There is that layer in which we just, by being in these frequencies, being in this awareness, allowing ourselves to be receivers, one candle starts to light the next candle, and the next candle as the next candle. And I have a quick quiz. Who knows here what Lynn McTaggart said about these frequencies, that they were extremely what? Put it in the chat. Let me know, because I don't remember what she said about this frequency. So please put it here in the chat. I see that Jillian shared a beautiful acronym, KISS. Keep it super simple. We need to remind ourselves of that, because the simplest is usually and tends to be the best option. The best option. Keep it super simple. And it applies as well as to how do we interact with these frequencies? How do we pay our awareness to these frequencies? Keep it simple. Anything and everything goes with these frequencies. So that is a beautiful observation. Thank you for sharing that acronym, Jillian. We also have here, Lexi B. I'm sorry, Lexi wrote it first. Yes, the frequencies are incredibly contagious. This is what Lynn McTaggart said. These frequencies are super contagious. More contagious than anything else that we know between humans, And we're not going to name names. So there's something going around that is highly contagious. This is more contagious, okay? So I like to say as well here, let me share one from Terry. Terry says the frequencies are always there. When we embrace that concept it begins to settle into our being, and the love simply flows naturally. Beautiful. That is it. Exactly. Because these frequencies are love. They are love. And, to talk about precisely not only this love, but that light that lights the next candle and the next candle, and that light that comes through, that because we are light. Let's listen to what Cecilia Sams has to say on that topic.
We have two sides to the coin. There is the happy, there is the not happy. There are experiences that bring light, there are experiences that bring not light. And so we hear of challenges, tragedies, things that are happening on other parts of the world, other parts of the room. And we are beings that can hear and understand that which is vibrational, whether we are participating in that experience or not. So we feel that we are sentient beings. And in that initial moment of feeling the discord of who you are as light and brilliant and bright and love, there's a shift. And there's a moment where you need to take balance and you need to regain that balance. And once you do, that's when you begin to interact and find that power within to allow for the balance in that situation. That's when we are called upon to assist and share, to allow that light, to allow that expansion, to allow that balance in that situation. So when we don't see that as a challenge any longer, but instead we see that as an opportunity, that's when we are called to shift and called to allow and called to be our bigger selves.
Challenges. Here we are right now in a world that seems to be overrun by challenges like we have not experienced, not one on top of each other, like this crazy layered cake of challenges and changes. And, we get caught up in the challenge again. Our attention runs to the challenge. We want to change the challenge, so we focus our attention to it, our intention to it. So while the real resolutions may be just waiting for you to allow, become that receiver of that information, that energy, that light. And then the answers are there. And sometimes the answer is to simply be. And that becomes so difficult because, again, keeping it super simple is not very simple. It doesn't matter for humans. We don't like the simple thing. We end up having to retrain our mind to do meditation, to do yoga. We end up having to get into this treadmill of retraining and reformatting our brain. And thank the universe that we have Reconnective Healing. And let's thank the universe that Dr. Eric Pearl said yes. And I know he says that, I don't see I had an option. There's always an option. Even when we say there's no option, there's always the option. And the option, even if you took that option a gazillion million non-sequential years in another planet, I don't know, it's still an option because it's choices. So Eric is going to conclude our little video presentation with a message I think is going to resonate with all of you. And this is about you are a master already. You are a master.
You're bringing light and energy onto the planet. You're reconnecting strands of our connectivity to everything and of our DNA. You're reconnecting strings. In that is an inspiration for me. Is it an inspiration for you? We must know. What was the fifth phrase? You must see or you must know that you are a master. Masters exist in their mastery. We don't hide mastery. We share mastery. Here we go. Let's all share this and realize that there is a responsibility that comes with this gift of access. It's a responsibility to A, become connected with it. B, to allow ourselves and therefore others full access. What does this connection grant us? It grants us access to receive and realizing that we are changing the world. And part of the excitement is to look around and observe the change of how rapidly and beautifully this comes about for all of us.
And there you have it. You know, we have this access to this infinite field of potential, our potential. But not only that, we are connected. We realize, we finally recognize our connectedness to one another and everything. And in that connectedness, you know, and as we place this awareness on these frequencies, well, we are connecting with other people. We are truly the catalyst for that change effortlessly, because all we need to do is, like Jillian says here, keep it super simple and receive. Is that receivership? Is that awareness? Letting go of controlling things, letting go of trying to have an intention for change. Instead, by being, we are already changing the world. Could it be simpler than that? I don't know if Reconnective family. It's so simple. It's so simple. Anybody here disagrees and wants to go and complicate things? Do we need to add anything to this? I honestly don't see where you add anything when something can be this beautifully simple, so elegant, so compassionate, so full of that knowingness that reminds us and helps us recognize ourselves as being more that Jillian has mentioned several times, but that we are one, that we truly are one. And Rob, I am so psyched that you chose to be here today. Guys, you are making this program possible, because with your chat, your shares, whomever comes and joins in, and even as we are talking now, I just feel this beautiful expansion on the frequencies. I just feel the tingling. I feel the shifting in the field itself. And it is because of you. And whomever comes after to watch this replay, I think they're in for an amazing treat. I'm the treat? No, you guys are the treat. You guys rock. You truly do. I want to say here, Lexi, we are all connected with each other, with our Reconnective family, by being and keep it simple. Absolutely truth with a capital T. No, I know there are many truths, but that one definitely is core to what this is and how it helps us connect with one another. Terry says, thank you, Dr. Eric. We are so connected and we can all feel it in your words. That is correct. As a matter of fact, I felt it through all the words of these amazing interview clips from our teaching team. I hope that as we progress here through the next months, we're going to have the entire team come and share with us their experience, as well as your experience. You who are here in the chat and perhaps watching this replay, just write to me. You know, at the very end, I put my email. Let me know. Come on board. Come and share. Because this is, you know what? This is the moment. That future is now. It's happening right now. We're discovering that there's no such thing anyway, right? So let's see here in the chat. We have Maria who says, we are where our attention is, showing that we are part of all that is, that we never have been and never will be alone, creates a feeling of peace, joy, and gratitude. Beautiful words. Thank you for sharing that with us. Guys, we have a very busy Saturday. We have Kelly Woodruff at 9 a.m. with more yoga, which is a beautiful offering. And I encourage you to go and read up a little bit more and sign up. We have a premiere this Saturday. We are going to be talking about healing and transformation beyond space-time. This is a topic that you guys have continued to ask us about. Everything that has to do with quantum, with moving between dimensions. Well, you know what? Dr. Eric and Jillian have taken it to themselves to really dissect it in chunks that will be resonating with everyone. And I hope that you will tune in, because this one, it packs a punch. It has some really amazing observations that you're not going to find out about these anywhere else. Okay, this is an exclusive discussion with Dr. Eric and Jillian. This is happening this Saturday. I've put the links below for the premiere. You know, you have two choices. You subscribe to our channel, and then on the day it will pop up at 10:30 for you, or send me an email and I'll send you the link so you can RSVP and receive the link for yourself. Guys, Solomon starts next week. Yay! So Solomon study group, the Solomon study group starts again next week. I'll put that link here as well as remind you there's still time to join our online course, Living in the Frequencies. If you're finding yourself that you're still too much into the concept of I can only use the frequencies for this or during this time of day, this program is for you. I encourage you to look into it. It will expand your viewpoint on everything that has to do with interaction with these frequencies, and before you know it, you'll be living in them effortlessly, and keeping it super simple. And back to our chat, we have here that Terry says, we are all one. Love holds us all together, and it's a scientific fact. Very, very likely, it seems that love is the vibration that may be holding most of our molecules together. So physically, that may be a fact. We may be calling it love, and it may be simply a frequency that the universe just tunes in like this, and it's like, okay, let there be people. Boop, boop. When we come into being. I don't know. I'm going out on a limb here. You guys gotta let me know what your thoughts are and your shares on this. Let's grow in this conversation. And that first hour of the portal is the gift to humanity from Dr. Eric and Jillian, the Reconnection. It is our gift to everyone. So, again, like I said with our videos, just copy this link and send it out randomly. Send it out randomly. The frequencies will take care of it. Whomever needs to start interacting with these frequencies will click on it and will sign on. And you would have been one of those candles that by just that simple share, may have just turned on somebody else. Let that light come up for somebody else. Be that light. I want to thank our entire teaching team that had taken part through the entire 9 months that we've been doing the RH Jam. Out of the really busy schedules to be guests at our program, your words are invaluable. And your wisdom perdures clearly. So timely. And we were talking about this close to a year ago. So I want to thank you, and I want to express again my gratitude to Lexi, Alexandra, and Cecilia Sams. You ladies are so pivotal in the creation of this program. I thank you. And as always, a special thank to Jillian Freer. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Rob Koenig, for joining us today. Rob being also one of our co-directors of our Reconnective Healing International teaching team. We really welcome your presence, your wisdom. Just help us all grow. And guys, until next week, it has been my pleasure again to be your presenter, Ana Clavell, at the RH Jam. And if you really want to see change in the world, well, no, you already are that change if you allow it to be. Thank you.